How we doing, everybody? Happy New Year, happy 2022, and this is our first new locomotive review of the year. This is the MTH General Electric 44-tonner labeled for the New York Dock Railway. And I did some research on this railway, and it's actually a kind of interesting little railway, but I'm just going to kind of give you the cliff notes on it. So the New York Dock Railway was actually the successor to the Brooklyn Wharf and Warehouse Company. On July 17th, 1901, the New York Dock Railway Company purchased the Brooklyn Wharf and Warehouse when they went into foreclosure and officially took possession on August 1st, 1901. It was actually a pretty unique little railroad because their job was essentially to load and offload the different rail car barges that came in and distribute them to their respective rail lines in the way of freight cars and things like that. And that's going to come into play in an interesting way when I do the PFA announcements. It's actually a really cool PFA, and I honestly think it's my favorite one. They actually connected with about 10 different railroads. It was the New Jersey Central, the New York Central, the B&O, Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western, Erie, Lehigh Valley, and like I said, their main job was moving car floats. And if you ever get a chance to look it up, it's a really interesting little railway, and they used obviously all small motive power like the 44-tonner. In the early years in the 1900s, they were using little 040 steam locomotives. And then they even went up to something as big as like an Alco RS1. But enough of the history. Let's go on to the model. The model is a General Electric 44-ton Phase 1 diesel switcher. It was made by MTH, and it first premiered in the 2020 Volume 2 catalog. This little engine's quite a beast. It's a full die-cast metal body as well as a frame. It's got metal wheels and drive gears, LED lights, 2 flywheel-equipped motors, and has the latest MTH ProtoSound 3.0 sound effects. The other nice thing about this is it will run on 027 curves. So it does not matter how tight of a curve you have on your layout, this thing will take it. And finally, the item number for this thing is MTH 20-21392. Okay, so now going in closer to the locomotive, I'm going to point out some of the details and things like that. So up in the front here, we have a die-cast metal operating electrocoupler on the front and the rear. It has separately applied metal coupler cut bars that do open and close. A ton of separately applied metal handrails, and these things, I know they look pretty fragile, but they're actually brass, so they're pretty flexible and they bend. I actually took the shell off of this thing at one point to just check out the drive gear and see what it looked like, and all you do is kind of bend them out of the way. It's actually kind of convenient. You have an LED headlight that obviously changes direction with whatever way you're going, lighted cab, die-cast metal horn, a bunch of beautiful molded in louvers and doors and different things like that, separately applied brass steps, very, very nice detailed truck side frames, and some separately applied metal ladders. Looking at the side of the 44-tonner, you could see the painted safety stripes all the way down. They're very, very clean, very well done. The beautiful New York Dock Railway logo in the center with the number 52. And the other funny thing about this is when I saw this in my my shop, there was something about this. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was the name or the paint scheme or whatever, but it really drew me to this. And if you guys don't know, I am really not a big diesel guy. 98% of my collection is steam, but there was something about this that just made me go, I really like this stupid little thing. And honestly, I have not been disappointed. In fact, when I do some of the running videos, I'm actually going to do them at my shop's layout, so you can actually see some of the switching and things like that. So the metal handrails continue all the way down the side of the locomotive. You have 2 detailed crew figures, 1 engineer and 1 fireman. And you also have a lighted cab. This is the back of the locomotive, although the back could be used loosely because it is a double-ended locomotive, so whatever was on the front is now on the back. Same thing with the operating coupler cut levers, the operating electrocoupler, the pilot steps, separately applied metal handrails, grab irons, as well as louver detail. I will mention This thing has the exhaust stacks up here on the top. However, it does not have an operating smoke unit because it is pretty small, but you got to take some things to give some things. So I'd rather have something with really nice, heavy, bassy sound, which is what this thing has. The sound system on this is phenomenal over having smoke. So next thing we're going to do, we're going to start it up. I'm going to run through some of the sounds, and then we'll finish it up with some running videos. Alrighty, everybody, here we are. So now we're going to go through the sound features of this locomotive. I am going to do the extended startup so you guys can hear the full thing. It actually is a pretty cool sounding startup. It actually sounds like a gentleman walks to the locomotive, goes into the cab and shuts the door, and then does the cranking over procedure. And the sound on this is very, very beefy and very heavy for such a small locomotive, and I think that was one of the things that definitely drew me to this, is just the sound files. But enough talking, let's get to it. Alrighty, everybody, so now our startup sequence is complete. So now the next sound I'm going to go over is the bell. Very simple air rung bell. The next one is going to be the horn, and I am going to do two horns for you. I am going to do the standard white horn button, and I am going to do the preset crossing horn. So here we go. This is the regular horn. And now the crossing horn. I love how the horn kind of changes pitch, and I thought that was a really cool thing. So the next one we're going to do is the operating couplers. They do have sound that goes with them, so I'll let you guys hear those. So that would be the rear coupler, and now we're going to throw the front coupler. All right, so nice metallic clank to them. Does sound like an actual coupler opening. The next sound we're going to do is the PFA announcement. Now, what I did notice about this is, I don't know if this is something just specifically on these little 44-tonners, but when you hit the PFA announcement button, normally it'll say what it's got to say, the bell will start ringing, and then when you hit the directional button, it will go into the mode. Well, on this, when you hit the PFA sequence, it'll start to go into its mode. The bell will ring for about a second, maybe 2 seconds at the most, and then it will stop and start the PFA on its own. So if you're trying to stop it at a certain point, you might have to practice a little bit. But we're going to do it from a stationary stop, so here we go.
What's today's date? The 27th or the 28th? It's another day at Bush Terminal. It's March 27th. What happened? No coffee this morning? No coffee, no breakfast. You know, I usually stop in Brighton Beach, but no time today. Bill Parker is backed up as usual. That's a copy. I see all 46 number 508 is included on the barge. Roger that for 508. Is it me? Well, these 46s look almost like the all 44s from a few years ago.
I was just going to say the same thing. I've been riding the 44s on the Staten Island Rapid Transit for about 2 years now. They're almost the same car.
I've seen the 44s running around on the 6th and 8th Avenue lines the last few years. They tested on the main line of the Long Island Railroad, topping the speed of 87.5 miles an hour.
That's right. I remember about 3 years ago waiting for the Babylon train to Amityville at Forest Hills. They flew by down the middle track heading towards Jamaica. Awesome sight.
Absolutely. Heck, the 44s and 46s almost look like the subway version of the Long Island Railroad's M1s. Guys, just spoke with the superintendent. Once transit gets them on the property, they'll start testing the 46s on the Sea Beach Express. You know the end line? You know, it's funny that you said the Sea Beach. Now that I think of it, I did hear these cars will be based at Jamaica Yard for the F, double G, and N lines. You know, it's funny that you said the Sea Beach. Now that I think of it, I did hear these cars will be based at Jamaica Yard for the F, double G,
It's also
and N
rumored
lines.
they'll be testing on the Long Island Railroad, just like the 44s did 3 years ago.
All right, everybody, so that was the PFA. So now I'm going to do the extended shutdown sequence.
Al, can you plug in the battery charger and the block heaters?
Well, everybody, that was the extended shutdown. I absolutely love this PFA sequence. I think it is one of my favorite, if not my favorite flat-out PFA sequence I've heard in some of the MTH trains. If you are interested in getting this little locomotive, you can find them online at different distributors. I don't know if you can get them from MTH anymore. I don't know if they are still in stock, but the list price for these is around $450. Yes, I understand it does seem a little bit high for what this little locomotive is, but it has tremendous pulling power. The sound system is phenomenal, and it just runs great. I've had it for about a day or two now, and I've been using it. And in fact, instead of doing the running review here on the Mini Magic Kingdom, I'm actually going to have footage of it running at my local hobby shop, so you guys can actually see it doing some of the switching and things like that. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below in the comments, and enjoy the running session. Thanks, and have a great day.
What's today's date? The 27th or the 28th? It's another day at Bush Terminal. It's March 27th. What happened? No coffee this morning? No coffee, no breakfast. You know, I usually stop in Brighton Beach, but no time today. No parking was backed up as usual.
Boss, the subway cars is in. As per the superintendent, we'll be moving the first 4 R46s today. One of the cars should be number 508. That's a copy. I see R46 number 508 is included on the barge. Roger that for 508.
Is it me? Well, these 46s look almost like the R44s from a few years ago.
I was just going to say the same thing. I've been riding the 44s on the Staten Island Rapid Transit for about 2 years now. They're almost the same car.
I've seen the 44s running around on the 6th and 8th Avenue lines the last few years. They tested on the main line of the Long Island Railroad, topping the speed of 87.5 miles an hour.
That's right. I remember about 3 years ago waiting for the Babylon train to Amityville at Forest Hills. They flew by down the middle track heading towards Jamaica. Awesome sight.
Absolutely. Heck, the 44s and 46s almost look like the subway version of the Long Island Railroad's M1s. Guys, just spoke with the superintendent. Once transit gets them on the property, they'll start testing the 46s on the Sea Beach Express. You know the N line? You know, it's funny that you said the Sea Beach. Now that I think of it, I did hear these cars will be based at Jamaica Yard for the F, double G, and N lines. You know, it's funny that you said the Sea Beach. Now that I think of it, I did hear these cars will be based at Jamaica Yard for the F, double G,
It's also
and N
rumored
lines.
they'll be testing on the Long Island Railroad, just like the 44s did 3 years ago.